so everybody knows that I'm not much for words, but my biggest thing that I would like to say is the dedication from both Van and Catherine have been very instrumental in where I have become and my family as well. And just appreciative of everything that they've done and their faithfulness to this church and to the people. And I will let my family talk about their growth and how far they've came. Which of you first?
Well, 17 years ago, if you had told me that we would be where we are, I would say that would be impossible. I had an angry husband. I had a son who didn't like his father, and a marriage that wasn't the best. But Sherman meeting Van at GFS and his persistence in talking to him and reaching out to him and forming their friendship not only changed Sherman's lives, but it changed our lives. And I will be forever thankful and grateful that he kept going back even though he didn't want to. And that we were able to find Calvary and that we were able to find Christ through his preaching. We know that God was giving him the strength and the courage to keep going and meeting with Sherman. And we are so grateful that Van was the vessel that God chose to use to pull us into the church.
And on that, sorry for my anger back then.
The way that I would describe Van that's most prevalent is he is a very faithful pastor, as well as he is a very faithful servant of Christ in his life. He did not have to resign himself to sharing the gospel and comforting my father when he was in that stage of his life where nobody would offer him the time of day or that love. And he exemplified that love for Christ for a stranger. And he felt compelled, and God used the faithfulness of Pastor Van Morris to bring him into the faith. And after we moved into this building from the old building, I'm pretty sure that's when you were baptized.
I was baptized too.
Not too long after she was baptized, and then Rebel Me baptized a few years later. If it was not for the ministry of Pastor Van Morris, we would likely have never come to the knowledge of the Lord Jesus Christ. Very likely, because, how would anyone know if no one goes, if no one is sent? I think it's very encouraging to keep that in mind, that your effect on one man, your preaching the gospel to one man, can have a trickling effect that affects an entire family, and leaves a mark on, the lives of their family members and their friends and whoever they interact with. So,
and we don't want to leave out Miss Catherine too.
Of course.
Because she has been instrumental in our lives too. So many times that I had felt like I was hitting rock bottom, and she would be the hand to hold me afloat. I will be forever grateful for that. And her, I guess it was like her faith in me, thinking or knowing that I could do women's ministry when I was terrified to even talk to people. I got courage and I guess self-confidence that I never had, and that was by her pushing me a little out of my comfort zone. And I will always be forever grateful for that, and just for her love and support. I don't want to leave out Miss Catherine.
And to add on to that, a good portion of our family was the opposite of supportive. They were critical of us unfairly. Before we were even Christians, they were just not the most, they weren't good for us. And when we came to Calvary and were met with, Pastor Van Morris and Catherine, they offered us family that, we didn't have, that he didn't have. They offered that sort of parental guidance and To this day, I am not permitted to call her Catherine. I must call her Gran, because she is my grandmother. And that's the sort of love that they've offered us. The love of Christ, the love of, his people, his family, to people who didn't even know they needed it.
Are you good?
I think that's all I needed to say.
Thank you.
Van and Catherine has been such a great influence in my life. And Van has been my pastor for 18 years, and through all my life, through my childhood. And they've been such an influence and encouragement to me. Every time I see Catherine and talk to her, she always seems so glad that I said hi, and she has encouraging words for me and has always been an encourager to me through my music. And Van is like a mentor to me through my music and worship, and he's just always given me opportunities, and he's never let my age being 18, he's never let that get in the way of giving me opportunities, and I just really appreciate them both. I remember one memory with Van that I went up to him and I said, "Hey Van, I'd like to sing backup vocals for you on Sunday morning." And this was when I was freshly into singing, and he looked at me and he said, "Can you sing harmony?" And in my mind I was like, what is that? And so now I know what harmony is, and that was one of the main reasons why I learned harmony, is because I learned that there and it was a thing. And so it sparked my interest for it. And they've been such an encouragement to me. So thank you, Van and Catherine. Love you guys.